Today's big idea is bigger than a popcorn kernel. I mean, most things are bigger than a popcorn kernel, but today's big idea is massively stupendous because today's big idea is that God promised a rescuer. There's something really good in this corn kernel. Know what it is?
Just pop it in to say, popcorn?
Yeah, it's popcorn. But it isn't popcorn yet. It's still a corn kernel. But if I heat this kernel up, after just a little bit, it'll pop and become delicious popcorn. When I look at this little bitty corn kernel, I remember something good is coming, but it's not here yet. Ugh, I have to be patient and wait. Sometimes it's tough to wait. Time can seem like it's going so slow. But we all have to wait sometimes. We have to wait for our favorite movies to come out. We have to wait for our favorite Christmas traditions. We have to wait for our birthdays each year. These are all good things, but we have to wait and be patient for them. God's special family, the Israelites, knew a lot about waiting. Even though God had picked the Israelites specifically to be his special family, not everybody treated them like they were special. But God had made them a promise. He would give them a new home called the Promised Land. It would be a gift from God to them. But it took a long time, 40 years of wandering in the desert before they got to the Promised Land. But God had made a promise, and he always keeps his promises right on time. And 40 years, that was just a drop in the bucket compared to the 700 years they would wait.
Wait!
Yeah, wait.
No, I mean wait.
Wait, what?
Let me get this straight. They waited for 700 years?
Oh, yes. The Israelites went through a lot, even after they got to the Promised Land. They had good kings and bad kings, good years and bad years. But God kept reminding them that he had not forgotten them, and he was going to send them a rescuer. God spoke to people called prophets. They heard from God and told people what God was saying. Here's the story of one prophet named Isaiah, who kept reminding God's special family that a rescuer was coming.
God's story, Isaiah. So part of God's story is about Isaiah's prophecies about Jesus, and it goes like this. Isaiah was a prophet. That means he heard from God and shared it with other people. God had a lot to say to his special family, the Israelites. So he gave Isaiah prophecies. A prophecy is when God makes a promise and tells us something that's going to happen in the future. And God always keeps his promises. Isaiah shared these prophecies with the Israelites. He told them of God's power and majesty, how wonderful and amazing and strong and kind and loving he is. He said, God gives power to the weak and strength to the powerless. Those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. This encouraged God's family and helped them trust that God was always with them. The most amazing prophecy God told Isaiah was that he would send someone perfect to earth, someone who would take the punishment for our wrong choices. Isaiah preached about how the rescuer would bring us close to God and would be a light to the whole world. He would bring good news to the poor and rule a new kingdom where there is no suffering, pain, or sadness. Isaiah said, "For a child is born to us, a son is given to us. The government will rest on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His government and its peace will never end." But how exactly would this rescuer arrive? People thought he might come as a powerful king who would rule over everyone from a mighty throne. And Isaiah did say the rescuer would come from the family of King David. But Isaiah also said the rescuer would be born as a baby, that he would come from a region called Galilee, that he would serve others his whole life and then be rejected, beaten, and killed by his own people. Isaiah said he was pierced because we had sinned. He was crushed because we had done what was evil. He was punished to make us whole again. His wounds have healed us. But the prophecies didn't end there. the most amazing thing of all, this rescuer would die and then come back to life. So God's family waited and waited. For 700 years they looked and listened and hoped for this rescuer to come. Then finally Jesus arrived, and all the things Isaiah said about the rescuer came true. Jesus was born as a baby. He came from Galilee. He was a descendant of King David. He served others his whole life. He was beaten and killed even though he was completely innocent. Then he defeated death and came back to life. And because Jesus took the punishment that we deserve, all we have to do is turn away from our wrong choices and choose to follow God instead. Isaiah never got to see all these prophecies come true, but he trusted that God would keep his promises and that he had a plan. We can do the same thing, even if we're going through something hard or confusing or sad. And even if we have to wait a long time, we can hope and trust that God will take care of us. And that's a little about the prophecies of Isaiah. So in case you missed it, here's the quick version. Isaiah was a prophet. He heard from God and shared it with people. God always keeps his promises. God told Isaiah about the rescuer. People waited. All the things Isaiah said came true. Jesus, the rescuer, fulfilled Isaiah's prophecies. And that's a part of God's story.
Wowza! In case you missed it, here's a slightly longer quick version. God told Isaiah that he would send someone perfect to earth.
Check. That's Jesus.
Yeah. God told Isaiah the rescuer would be born as a baby.
Check.
He would be a descendant of King David.
Check.
From Galilee.
Check.
He would serve others his whole life.
Check.
And he would eventually be killed by his own people.
Unfortunately, that's a check.
But he would defeat death and come back to life.
Ooh, check. Double check. Triple check.
God promised a rescuer, and that's exactly what he gave us. Jesus was the rescue plan God had promised all along. Let's do a recap. We started out today looking at an amazing little corn kernel. Why is it amazing? Because it's a reminder that something good is coming, but it's not here yet. And that's something the Israelites had to remember over and over and over too. So take a second and think. Is there anything good that you know is coming, but it's not here yet? It can be hard to wait for good things, but here's the good news. Even though the Israelites had to wait for something good, they had hope. God had given them what they needed before, and they could trust he would provide for them again. And the same is true for you and me. Maybe you're in the middle of waiting for something good. You can have hope too. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about this, Psalm 27:14. It says, "Wait for the Lord, be strong and don't lose hope. Wait for the Lord." Let's try to remember that verse together. First, we can read it in the Bible. The book of Psalms is right about in the middle of the Bible, and this verse is in the 27th chapter. Ooh, I turned right to it. And it's the 14th verse, so we're in Psalms. Here's the big 27, and we're looking for the little 14, and it says, "Wait for the Lord, be strong, and don't lose hope. Wait for the Lord." Now, let's say it together. We'll say where you can find it in the Bible, and then we'll say the verse, and then we'll say where you can find it again. Ready? Repeat after me. Here we go. Psalm 27:14.
Psalm 27:14.
Wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord.
Be strong and don't lose hope.
Be strong and don't lose hope.
Wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord.
Psalm 27:14.
Psalm 27:14.
Nice. Let's do it again a little bit faster. Psalm 27:14.
Psalm 27:14.
Wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord.
Be strong and don't lose hope.
Be strong and don't lose hope.
Wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord.
Psalm 27:14.
Psalm 27:14.
Awesome. Let's rewind again. And do it even faster. Psalm 27:14.
Psalm 27:14.
Wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord.
Be strong and don't lose hope.
Be strong, don't lose hope.
Wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord.
Psalm 27:14.
Psalm 27:14.
Again. Psalm 27:14.
Psalm 27:14.
Wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord.
Be strong and don't lose hope.
Be strong, don't lose hope.
Wait for the Lord.
Wait for the Lord.
Psalm 27:14. Psalm 27:14. Yes. Good job. Awesome, you beautiful brainiacs. Maybe try saying that verse a few more times this week and see if you can remember Psalm 27:14 a couple of days from now. You might find that it comes in handy when you need to be patient and wait for something good, like the Israelites did. Remember, the Israelites knew something good was coming. God had promised a rescuer, but they had to wait for it a long time. From the time God told Isaiah about the rescuer to the time Jesus was born was about 700 years. It was a good thing, and it did happen, but they had to be patient. God promised a rescuer, and he always keeps his promises.